Hey guys, Peachy here, and this is the info video for the Pokemon Indy series for Season 3. You're looking at the new mod right now, the Delaria IR12. That was recently released by NASCARFunFacts.com. Gotta give a shout out to them for creating this brand new mod that recently came out. It's the newest open wheel mod in our Town 3. And you'll notice that there are different sounds for menus now. And I have good news to share with you on that as well. I recently found a sound package that will accurately have the sounds of IndyCar, but not only that, they'll also have the sounds for Cup Series. I found them at Stunt Road Racing. I do not remember the name, but I'll look it up in a little bit. But I did find this at StunardRacing.com. I apologize if I butchered up the name. Comes from Tichacha. Tichacha at StunardRacing.com actually released a sound pack for the IndyCar series and also for the Monster Energy Cup series. So we're going to use those two sound packs for our series going forward. And it's going to be a lot of fun. You may or may not hear them because I'm recording my voice over it, but you may hear some of it in the races in the near future. I'm using the IndyCar one now for obvious reasons, but excuse me for my voice not being really sounding well. I have allergies, so bear with me if I cough or sniffle or whatever. While I do this recording, as I have allergies right now, so I'm going to try the best I can to make this as smooth as possible. But anyway, I showed you the IR12 mod that just came out recently. We're going to use that for this series and Season 3 of the Indy series. We're going to use the sound pack that was released by Stunnard Racing in IndyCar, and of course, Pokemon Cup series. We'll use the new NASCAR Cup series sound pack. For obvious reasons again. So anyway, look at these cars. This is the car for IR12 and it looks awesome. They got it down to the finest detail. It is amazing. They put a lot of hard work into this, and I gotta thank them for making an awesome new open wheel mod for Town 3. It's been a while since we got an awesome new open wheel mod for the series for our IndyCar. So I'm glad that we finally got one up to date. And they're going to be releasing more cars in the future, I hope, so we might use them for in some form or another. But anyway, let's show you the drivers that are going to be in Season 3 of the Indy series. Again, sorry for my voice, as I have allergies, just so you know. So anyway, the one car from Team Penske will be driven by Diego Yepez. The number 3 car, also from Team Penske, will be driven by Dylan Croom. The number 4 car of AJ Ford Enterprises will be driven by Alex Hawkins. The 5 car from Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports will be driven by Grayson Acevedo. The number 6, also from Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports, will be driven by Donovan Douthitt. The number 9 from Chip Ganassi Racing will be driven by Robert Smith. The number 10, also from Chip Ganassi Racing, will be driven by Peter Onjack. The number 12 Team Penske car will be driven by Jon Gilbert. The number 13 GoDaddy Ed Carpenter Danica Patrick car will be driven by Carter Friesen. Number 14 from AJ Foyt will be driven by Philip Goldberg. Number 15 from Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan Racing will be driven by Marcus Saatchi. Number 18 from Dale Coyne Racing will be driven by Cullen Francis. Number 19, also from Dale Coyne Racing, will be driven by Michael Canto. Number 20 from Ed Carpenter Racing will be driven by John Mendez. Number 21, also from Ed Carpenter Racing, will be driven by Brandon Tharp. Number 22 from Team Penske will be driven by Cody Smart. Number 23 from Carlin will be driven by Ryan Acosta. Number 26 from Andretti Autosport will be driven by Alexander Rowe. Number 27, also from Andretti Autosport, will be driven by Matthew Mdev. Number 28, also from Andretti Autosport, third car in a row from that team, will be driven by Riley Spurlytube. Number 30 from Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing will be driven by Nick Samon. Number 32 from Juncos Racing will be driven by Daniel Bouchard. Number 59 from Carlin will be driven by Aaron Carlson. Number 60 of Michael Shank Racing with an alliance from Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports. That 60 car will be driven by Gatlin Downey. Number 88 from Hardin Racing will be driven by Bryce Legere. And finally, number 98 from Andretti Autosport, the last one of the Andretti cars, will be driven by Sebastian Cucalon. And those are your cars and drivers for Season 3 of the Pokemon Indy Series. You'll notice that this says all oval on the top left of the roster list. And guess what? Not only are we going to use the oval configuration, but we're also going to be using the road course configuration as well. And these are the road course cars they'll be running in for the road course races this season. We'll actually be driving with both configurations, both the oval configuration and the road course configuration for these cars. All of them have the same number, except some of them have different paint schemes from the oval ones they have. For example, Diego Yepez's one Penske car. On oval, you see it has Verizon as their colors, but on the road course version, they have Hitachi as their colors. So some cars will be different than the oval ones that they have. Let me probably show you another example. I believe Grayson Acevedo's car is a excuse me, I'm sorry. Anyway, there are the other cars. If you notice, the 6 running with Lucas Oil on the road courses. Verizon a little bit different on the 12 for that team. The 15 Marcus Saatchi, you see another example right here. Saatchi runs with United Rentals for the oval races. And on road course races, he'll be running with Colorado State University One Cure. So they have different sponsorships for the respective cars in the series. Cullen Francis isn't different. I believe Michael Canto has a different scheme with PaySafe. Some others have different schemes. Brandon Tharp is running Auto Geek with his road course race. Cody Smart running with Menards as its sponsor in the 22 in road course races. Ryan Acosta going to run with Tresiba for the Carlin team. Alexander Rowe running Group 1001 for the 26 in road courses. 27 running with Military to Motorsports. And 30, my jack I think is the same. 32 running Binderholtz for Juncos for the road courses. And 59 running Arthur J. Gallagher Company in road course races. SiriusXM sponsoring the 60 in road courses, and I think Alberto is sponsoring Sebastian Cucalon in the 98 for road course races. Yeah, it's a different look, just so you know. So anyway, that's all the cars and drivers that are going to be in the series. Now I'm going to show you guys the schedule for the series. So bear with me. I'll be back with a schedule. Alrighty guys, here's the schedule for Season 3 of the Pokemon Indy Series. And we're going to start just like last season at Walt Disney World Speedway. Last season's race there was a success, so why not bring it back to kick off Season 3? It's always been a good race to kick off the season at, so we're going to bring back the Mick Yard for this season. Then we will go to ISM Raceway in Phoenix. It's the old configuration, just so you know. Unless if I found the new configuration somewhere in our Town 3 world, but we're using the old one for now until the new one is made. Then it's the Los Angeles Mitchell Complex. I hope I got the name right, but it is a new track made by Siron. I hope I pronounced his name right too. Anyway, but he's the guy that created the Gravis City tracks and other tracks that were in last season of the Pokemon Indy series. He's created this track in Los Angeles. It's a fictional stadium it's a fictional racetrack, I should say, inside a fictional stadium. It's going to be a lot of fun to do. It's a short track, so we'll see how that will work out for the IndyCar series this season. Then we go to Circuito de Juarez, and that is in the new circuit in Mexico City, and he also created this track as well. So we're going to try that out for the Open Wheel Series this season. It's the first race at the track, and next season the X Series and Cup Series will be running at the Ovalo de Juarez in Mexico. It'll be a triumphant return to Mexico for the Cup Series. They'll also be running Canada as always, and we'll get to the Canadian track at the schedule a little bit. Then we go to Texas Motor Speedway in the DXC 600, formerly the Rain Guard 600 and the Firestone 600. It's now known as the DXC Technologies 600. But it's still the same track, the same Texas you know and love, so we're bringing that back in the schedule. Then it'll be our first road course race of this season. That'll be in Road America for the Kohler Grand Prix. Road America is always fun to run in open wheel races, so we're going to do that again. Now we get to the Canadian race on the schedule at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the Honda Indy Toronto. I'm not using the Toronto track that they have in Art Sound 3 because I tried that once and it was a huge mess. The AI was terrible. It couldn't register the turns well. There was always a lot of wrecking and crashing at that. Excuse me. There was always a lot of wrecking and crashing in that Toronto mod. So it was unraceable pretty much for the computer. So I went to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park instead. That's always provided some good racing in the Trucks and Cup Series. We're going to bring it for the IndyCar Series and give open wheel racing a shot at Mosport. Then we will head to Suzuka Circuit in Japan, and we will have one race there. We used to have a doubleheader in the Cup Series at Suzuka Circuit's East portion, but it's only going to be a one race deal in Suzuka Circuit since it's able to fit all 26 cars into one race. Because when we do Cup, it wasn't able to fit all 40 cars in one race, so we had to do it as a doubleheader weekend. But in the Indy Series, we were able to fit all the cars into one race, so we're going to have one race there only at that track. Then we will have our Detroit Grand Prix doubleheader back at Belle Isle Park. The doubleheader has always been hit or miss, but I decided to bring it back because it's the only doubleheader weekend of the season. And I thought it would make things interesting for the schedule. I know some of you don't like the Belle Isle Park, but I decided to keep it on the schedule because it's a doubleheader weekend, and it gives the drivers two chances to take the checkers at Detroit. So it's always been the races there have always been hit or miss. So we might get two good races, or we might get two bad races. We might get one good, one bad. Who knows? So for that reason, I've decided to bring the Detroit Grand Prix doubleheader back into the schedule. We'll see what this season will provide with the new set. And then we will head to Michigan International Speedway. And why I added Michigan, you might ask? Well, it's because a lot of people have been requesting the IndyCar Series be going back to Michigan after it was taken off the schedule years ago. But lately, there's been a resurgence for requests for a race in Michigan among the fans of IndyCar, so I'm gonna give what the fans want. Have another race in Michigan and follow that up after the Detroit Grand Prix, so we stay in the same state. So we have an oval race. We have a road course doubleheader in Michigan, and then in the state of Michigan, I should say, a road course doubleheader, and then excuse me again. So we have a road course doubleheader, and then we're going to have an oval race. So the capital of motorsports is going to be well represented in this schedule by having two road course races, or street course race I should say, and one oval race. After Michigan, we go to Iowa Speedway, a short track with all safer barriers around. You know, the one that we went with the X and Truck Series there. So we're gonna return to Iowa. Iowa's always been fun to run in open wheels. So, and that track that I have in Iowa Speedway was meant for open wheels, believe it or not. but yet it somehow worked well with the X Series cars and the Truck Series trucks. So it's only fitting that we run an open wheel race there at Iowa. It's always a fan favorite. We're going to bring that back. And then we go to the Tricky Triangle of Pocono Raceway. Pocono is one of the fastest races on the schedule. It's always fun to see the Indy cars run at Pocono, so we're bringing that back for a challenge for these guys to make 3 turns instead of 4 or 2 or many. So, always fun to see Pocono. After Pocono, we go back to Gateway Motorsport Park in the Bommarito 500. It was a rousing success, so obviously we want to bring it back for this season. Then it go. Excuse me for coughing. Again, I'm battling allergies, so bear with me on the coughing. Anyway, you can pause the video to see the schedule for yourself without hearing my voice, but I'm just going through every race on the schedule. For those who are not, for those who are willing to stay until the end. So anyway, after Gateway, we're going back to road courses with Sonoma Raceway, the Grand Prix of Sonoma. To this day, they still don't have the IndyCar version out yet. So we're going to race the Cup configuration for Sonoma because that's the only one that they have released so far. Hopefully they'll make an IndyCar configuration of Sonoma very soon. We'll definitely use that for the Indy Series and leave the Cup version for the Cup Series. But I do know Sonoma has a different configuration for the IndyCars than NASCAR. So like I said, I do know that Sonoma is different for IndyCars than NASCAR. So I'm hoping that that Entertown 3 has the IndyCar configuration, the up-to-date IndyCar configuration somewhere for Sonoma Raceway. I heard that one, I think NR Track Designs, I think was working on a Sonoma Raceway for the open wheel mod, but that hasn't gone anywhere. So we're going to be using the Cup configuration, just letting you guys know, for the Sonoma race. For the Indy Series until the IndyCar version comes out. I know it may not sound, well, it may not be perfect, but we're going to try the best we can to have a good race at Sonoma. We got to have that on the schedule because they really do have this Sonoma on the schedule. So we just couldn't pass that up. But anyway, after Sonoma, we go to Portland. Portland International Raceway is back for another run of the Grand Prix of Portland. This season, we're going to try to make it better than it was last season. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that, for a good race there. And then we will head back to Pensacola International Speedway. But it's going to be the road course configuration. The Trucks and X Series run Pensacola's oval. However, the Indy Series is going to be using its road course. So it's the longest road course on the schedule. It is moved to later in the season. It's always a fun race to see the long road course at Pensacola, so we're going to try our best to make this the best one yet. And then why not? Let's add a race at Watkins Glen after that. The Grand Prix of the Glen was gone after 2 seasons in real life, but we brought it back for a 3rd season. And we will be using the boot configuration for the track. We only have used the NASCAR configuration for the other 3 series in the league. But for the Indy Series, are the only series to use the boot configuration at Watkins Glen. So we're definitely going to make improvements on that and hope to make the racing much better, even with the boot. And you know where this leads to? Last 2 races are in Indianapolis. And the penultimate race of the season will be, of course, the IndyCar Grand Prix at the Indianapolis Road Course. I know it's not the best race, it's not the best track in the schedule, but we're going to try the best to make the IndyCar Grand Prix the best one there is. I mean, we got to run the IndyCar Grand Prix before the Indy 500, the big spectacle, the biggest racing event on the schedule, of course. So, as a warm-up to the Indy 500, we're going to still have the IndyCar Grand Prix at the Indy Road Course. And then, last but not least, we will have the Indianapolis 500. The big Indy 500 will end the season like it did before. But anyway, that's the schedule for Season 3. Good luck to every driver in this field, and we will see you guys next time.